Thanks so much for joining us here at noon on this Friday. I'm Brooke Hash. It is day 2 for JCPS, and it follows a pretty successful first day. After overhauling its transportation plans, the district said 98% of students were dropped off by 6:30 last night, with the final kids dropped off by 7, which was about 30 minutes earlier than expected. Now, the biggest issue of the first day was this: incredibly long car rider lines. This one at No Middle, one of the magnet schools which lost bus transportation. From our Sky 11 drone, you can see those lines snaking through neighborhoods and clogging up traffic. Taylor Woods and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie spoke with frustrated JCPS parents.
Parents waited in long car rider lines wrapped around No Middle School 30 minutes to an hour before dismissal.
And that's why I got here early, to try to avoid that. I have another child to pick up.
It took Kaylee Bell an hour just to get through the line Thursday morning. She says there were 3 car rider lines at No Middle School since students were being dropped off and picked up by grade levels.
There's no direction really on which route everybody should take to get to their pickup and drop-off points. So it was a little confusing trying to figure out, like, am I in the line for no?
Bell wasn't the only parent who was confused. Tiffany Prittis also had trouble finding the right line at No Middle.
Been yelled at, honked at, said, just find the end of the line, honey, and I don't know where that is.
She believes most parents are opting to drive their students to school after most families lost transportation this year.
And my worry is, oh, I snake around. Am I in the right line? We're all lining up to be released at the exact same time.
Eventually, traffic started flowing after a crossing guard intervened. But that wasn't the case at Audubon Elementary. JCPS Chairman Dr. Corey Scholl told WHAS11 he waited in line 2 hours. JCPS Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio is now calling on JCPS law enforcement to help with the car ride lines.
Our police department will help us out with that. We've got to have some traffic control in front of those schools.
Corey Keith gives kudos to JCPS for making transportation smoother this year.
The car rider lines are getting really better.
In Louisville, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 on your side.
Now, this year, some families who are driving their students to school will receive a gas stipend. The district said the majority will get $5 a day, while free and reduced lunch families will get $10 a day. Exactly how much you get depends on how many students are in your family and which school they go to. There will be no stipend for absent days. JCPS said signups for the stipend program will begin sometime this month, though an exact date has not been released. Payments are scheduled to start the week of September 9th. We'll continue to track all the bus times and potential improvements on those car rider lanes today. Look for those updates in the WHAS 11 News app and on WHAS11.com. And looking at that bus stop forecast, not a bad one this morning.
No.
And looking at the afternoon, we're just sliding into a perfect weekend.
Yeah, it's feeling really nice outside, Brooke. I wouldn't say that we're completely humidity free, but it is an improvement from what the last couple of weeks have been. Certainly, temperatures have improved as well, as we're sitting only at 83 degrees right now, and then we're just shy of that mark around Jasper and over in Madison, where you're checking in at 70 degrees this afternoon. Look at these beautiful blue skies. Almost looks like a painting of a picture, if you ask me. If we go into the next few hours, we will gradually warm on up, but not going to be quite as hot as what we were yesterday, ending up just in those middle 80s, which is actually below average for this time of the year. As we go into tonight, outdoor plans are a go, and temperatures just going to be dropping into the upper 70s after sunset tonight. Ultimately, though, we're looking at a gorgeous afternoon, a nice end to the work week here, as we'll make it just to the middle 80s around Hodgenville, lower 80s, E-Town, and in Shepherdsville today. Now, we're talking about the dew points. That's what makes it feel uncomfortable if those dew points are high. Some folks do have dew points in the lower 70s, so talking to you over in Jasper, where you are going to feel a little bit of that humidity. However, most of us are going to just see those dew points kind of flirt with the 60 degrees here, and that makes it feel pretty pleasant outside. And I'm excited to tell you that we're actually going to see those dew points drop even more as we head into the weekend. Not just the dew points, but the temperatures are dropping as well. I'll time that out for you coming up here in just a bit. Brooke.
All right, Christina. New Chapel EMS is ending its emergency ambulance services in Clark County. Former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll founded and ran that department for 20 years. Well, since his arrest, the department has dealt with major staffing issues. A spokesperson said the agency will stop providing 911 services on September 1st to focus on restructuring and rebranding. Heartland Ambulance is being brought in on a 3-month contract. This is a nationwide company that works both in Indiana and Texas. The New Chapel says it still plans to help with non-emergency runs like transporting people from nursing homes. In a statement, New Chapel said it's looking forward to playing a part in providing ambulance services to Southern Indiana residents just a little differently. A Louisville pilot who went missing in the Bahamas died in a crash landing. Chris Moore's wife, Stacy Love, told us private rescue crews found Moore's plane upright in a marsh yesterday. Sunday, he took off from the Sebastian Airport on the east coast of Florida for a 3-hour flight, and Love said her husband was just 2.5 miles away from that small airport when he crashed. According to the Coast Guard, Moore was the only one on board. Now to a major update in the Crystal Rogers case. One of the men charged in connection to her murder just fired his attorney. In court, Steve Lawson accused his attorney of working against him. So the prosecutor, Teresa Young, also echoed that concern, calling it disturbing. Young said her team has noticed problematic practices in how motions are written, typically doubling down on Brooks Houck's defense instead of Steve Lawson's. Houck is the main suspect in that case.
Mr. Lavin had been meeting with Brooks Houck's attorneys behind his back.
It's come to my attention, I don't think I'm trying to knock nobody. My attorney's doing his job for me anymore. I can't use his, I don't know what you call it, his counsel anymore, sir.
I'm sorry.
I can't use his counsel anymore, sir.
Okay, are you saying that you're wanting a different attorney?
Yes, sir, that's exactly what I'm saying, sir. Okay. I'm sorry that I didn't make myself clear.
Now, Lawson's attorney, Ted Lavitt, quickly left the courtroom at the end of that hearing, not taking any questions from reporters. The judge asked for a public defender to be ready to represent Steve Lawson at the next hearing, where they will once again try to push that case forward. The next hearing is scheduled for August 22nd. Former Metro Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey is no longer employed by Louisville Metro government. She was the mayor's deputy chief of staff. And this morning at the Bishop Lyons Roundtable, Dorsey called the work environment there oppressive. Mayor Craig Greenberg also responded, saying Metro employees have a unique responsibility.
I was willing to go along and get along when it was just me. But when I saw the systemic oppression of my sisters, I couldn't be silent.
All of us, myself included, need to be accountable to who we work for, which is the people of Louisville. And we are stewards of taxpayer dollars that have a responsible to excel at our work and to meet professional standards.
Now, before Dorsey was fired, she posted on social media saying that recently that she filed an ethics complaint against the mayor's office. The mayor's office tells us they've gotten no formal complaint. We'll keep you updated. A new $50 million investment is aiming to reduce carbon dioxide emissions in Rubber Town, specifically at the American Synthetic Rubber Company. The donation from Michelin North America will help build new natural gas fueled boilers. American Synthetic has been making synthetic rubber since the 40s and says this investment shows its efforts to reduce its environmental impact, especially for West Louisville neighbors.
It's important to the people who work here. It's important to the people who raise their families here. Because for too long, residents in the west end of Louisville have borne a disproportionate burden for the negative impacts of industry.
Michelin said the goal is to create better air quality, use less water, and eliminate coal ash waste. It bought the American Synthetic facility in the 90s. The Louisville Metro Council approved a new contract with the Firefighters Union. The 5-year contract boosts firefighter pay by 24% overall, which union leaders say makes Louisville one of the highest paid departments in Kentucky. 7% of that raise will apply to pay earned over the last year.